Hello, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to day two of my composing live stream here in the studio in Mexico City. And if you weren't tuned in yesterday, I'll give you a quick update. This is my project of composing music live for my independent music library that I'm creating. I'm creating a website called humanmusic.org where I'm going against the grain of AI music and highly automated music production and using old school methods to create music that is organic and human and with feeling and emotion for you all to use in your content creation or anywhere else or just to listen to, whatever. And these songs are going to be, I'm always going to keep them free to use on YouTube, just as if they were in the YouTube audio library, though they will not be. These are my own songs, they're independent, but I like to have them be free for YouTube so that people use them a lot. And if they become popular on YouTube, I know that they will get use outside of the platform and generate royalties for me that way. So that's the idea. The bait is the fact that they're free on YouTube and they're also free for end users. Like if you were to upload it to Facebook, use one of my songs in your Facebook video or Instagram video or TikTok or in a radio program or in a podcast. The company hosting is the one that will pay me. So Facebook or Instagram, you don't have to pay to use my songs that way. So that is the idea. And yesterday, I started with an improvisation. I think it was more of a warm up. I don't feel like really following on that from yesterday. We're going to start something new today. The objective is to write a complete song every day. I'm starting a little late today because I was still working out some technical kinks. I managed to get my GoPro camera to work as a wireless streaming camera so that I can carry it around the studio with me and show you when I go to the drum set or to the modular synthesizer or to the marimba or to the bass guitars. So anything, so you will always see my face up on the right side there so I can look at you and talk to you directly. And underneath you will see the GoPro streaming wirelessly with a little bit of delay. So sorry about that. I wasn't able to get it to stream too quickly. It was very complicated actually. Quite a bit of workarounds to get it to function that way. I was using my phone yesterday, but honestly, I didn't love having the phone be the wireless um, camera because I'd get notifications and stuff and it would interrupt it. I like to have my phone just be my phone, sitting here on the table, on the desk. Sorry. So let me open up the chat here so that I can see if anybody is. Uh, Hello, Prani Hande. Nice to see you. Oh, I don't want this to be here though. I want this to be external. I want the chat to. How do I get it out? Hmm, weird. I wanted to have the chat be external the uh, to the main window here. You're not seeing my OBS window. Hello, Emmanuel Ferrarotto from Germany. Nice to see you. What's on the menu tonight? Oh, I don't know. I was thinking maybe hip hop. That's something that I have fun doing, and it's fairly straightforward, not too difficult to make. So we can look at that. It I have an interesting approach to doing hip hop, which is I don't want to use samples. So what I do is I kind of create like a song that I then sample and treat it like a hip hop producer would. We could use my Roland SP404 Mark II or the MPC-1, or just do it straight up on Pro Tools, which might be even faster. I have my drum set back there that I can actually play live and treat it and loop it and stuff. So I think, yeah, I think maybe a hip hop track would be fairly straightforward, quick thing to produce. Um, so yeah, let's do it. Things are all right. Here's the chat window right here. Cool. See, bear with me, folks. I'm still just learning and getting used to doing this, and I'm really loving having the GoPro be a wireless camera here that I can carry around with me in the studio. Sounds interesting, right, Emmanuel? Okay, so I've opened up a template where I have my drum tracks already loaded in here. So I have kick, snare, overhead, left and right, rack tom, floor tom. My floor tom mic is actually picking up the kick as well. Back left, back right. So I have two pairs of overhead microphones that I like to use for future proofing so that I can easily eventually do a spatial mix where you would hear the back microphones from behind and the front overhead microphones from the front. But even if I don't do that, it still sounds pretty cool to have four overhead mics rather than two. I will always be sharing with you folks my miking, engineering, production techniques as we go. Now, one mistake that I think a lot of hip hop people that are not hip hop producers make when they want to produce hip hop is to start with the beat. The best hip hop tracks that I know of and the best hip hop producers usually start with a sample and then make a beat to fit it, right? And there are many ways to make a beat. I actually happen to play drums, so I think yeah, we'll step out from the usual of using drum machines and samplers and stuff and actually play a beat, but of course then I'll treat it like a sample. I'll probably loop it, and edit it and stuff. So the first thing would be to choose a tempo. We're gonna Hip hop is definitely the kind of music where I would use a metronome, um, whereas with other possibly with other styles of music, I like to go freestyle and not use a metronome at all. I know, crazy, right? Almost nobody makes music without a metronome these days, but I still like to do that for certain styles. It keeps things, it's the kind of the idea of this project is to go back in time and keep what was good about how music was produced in the past and what's been missing in a lot of modern production, such as having the human element be the clock source rather than have a metronome, but not this time. Now, I like 98 is a really nice tempo for hip hop, and I have a click track here, and here we go. I'm gonna turn down the speaker here so it doesn't go through the microphone. You guys should be hearing it from my little mixer here, right? And now maybe I'll come up with a little fragment of like a jazzy thing, um, which we'll treat like our sample source. Like, so I'll do something that sounds kind of vintage and jazzy to be to then sample and chop and treat like our main sample source for the hip hop production. So again, as usual, my approach is one of layered improvisation. So I'm an improviser first and foremost. I never actually put a note on paper in all of my career as a composer. Everything I do is just performing straight to tape, or in this case, a computer hard drive. Okay, so let's open up a track here. What could I start with? Maybe guitar. So I have my trusty new Ibanez headless guitar here, right? Which I have been enjoying to tune it in an unusual tuning. It's drop C sharp, so it's a tone and a half low compared to usual guitar. It makes the strings real slinky, so you can do really deep bends and things like that. And oh no, I left my bass plugged in yesterday. That means it's been draining the battery on the preamp for over 24 hours. Rookie mistake. Hope I didn't drain it completely. Anyway, this guitar is passive, as most guitars are. Uh, well, maybe not nowadays. A lot of more like shreddy heavy metal guitars do have active pickups. Not this one though. Even though this guitar looks very modern, it actually has kind of a thick neck, and the pickups are set up to get kind of classic sounds. So I've been using this guitar more even um, than I do have a Les Paul and a Telecaster. Telecaster is at the shop at the moment. Huh. And but this one seems to get a lot of those tones. Anyway, right. So let's open up a track for the guitar. And we want it to be stereo because I'm using the Pod Express pedal, which has a stereo output, as my guitar processor because it's got everything. It's got amp simulation, and it's simple. I have many other possibilities. I have an HX stomp. I have a couple actual amps. I have a little tube 5 watt amp that I really like for certain things. But I want to keep things simple and straightforward today, so we're going to use the Pod guitar. And now we're going to assign the input for the guitar, which should be 5 and 6 here. Now I'm not hearing anything. Ah, there we go. I have an AB here. So have a look. Have a quick look here on my pedal board. So I have the bass and the guitar pods, and I have an AB switch to go between them. So if I'm recording bass, I click on that. And I also have this new talk box, which could be really fun for this track actually. TC Helicon Talkbox Synth. It simulates that tube and mouth talkbox effect really well. So that'll be fun to use on this hip hop track too. But right now I had the AB going to the bass, that's why we weren't hearing anything. And now we can hear the guitar, right? Let me turn up the volume here so it records nice and warm. We want to set Pro Tools on low latency monitoring so we don't hear it double once I hit record here. Record enable the track, assign the input, which is ADAT 5 and 6. I have an ADAT expansion interface for my PreSonus Studio 2018 24C interface. Okay, now I have a tuner here. Could also use the tuner right on the pod. In fact, let's use that one. I'm just gonna hold the tap button here, and it lights up to show me that I'm a little sharp because there's temperature changes here in the mountains surrounding Mexico City where I live. It's quite radical temperature change between night and day. It gets very cold at night. Like it was 7 degrees Celsius. Even though it's already spring, you'd expect it to be a little warmer. So here we go. Let's tune this. All right. Now, do I like this sound? I can change the pickup. Let me put the GoPro here so you can see me playing. There we go. Right, this is more like a Strat kind of a sound. And there's another switch here. So you have like 10 different sounds on this guitar. It's really nice. I can play with the fingers, like a more jazzy sound, or I can use a pick. Now I think I have a little bit of analog delay going here. Right, I can turn that off because then I can use a delay in the software, in the Pro Tools, in the mix. So I'm going to do the same with reverb too. We're just going to use basic amp sim. That's a nice progression right there, right? How do y'all like that one? Does that sound good? Say hi, anybody who's here still watching. I'd like to know if people are hanging out with me or if I'm all alone. Let's put this a little closer. So we'll think of two. Thank you, Emmanuel. Thank you for hanging out with me, not leaving me hanging. Sounds mellow, right? I think without the pick. So we'll think of two sections, right? So this is one, and then we'll do like a little B section for maybe a hook or whatever, just to have variation. Perhaps we'll think of something else later for an intro, but just gotta start. Just gotta. Oh, I'm not sure it's keeping tune. That's the thing too with this tuning. Strings get super floppy, so sometimes they slip in and out of tune. See, this one is a little low. A little low as well. There we go. I could do a little flanger or something. A little bit of chorus, perhaps. Or use the flanger. Phaser, perhaps. Or or just clean. Let's keep it clean, keep it jazzy. Nice and warm sound. All right, so let's just go. Stop noodling and procrastinating and do it. I think it's a little fast, right? I was liking the mellow tempo that I was using before. Let's try 89. I like that last one. So right away, I like to go ahead and pick a loop I like. Like the more you can do ahead of time, the less stuff you leave for later, the better. So let's hear that loop. Okay, if I click off record here, I can hear it as a loop. Maybe the previous one, because this one cut off a little. Hold on. Choose bars and beats here. Zoom in. We can make this bigger so y'all can see better, right? What I'm doing here. And let's move. Let's open this up from before. Yeah, I think I like this one. So now we're going to duplicate this so it repeats and we can do another layer. Right? I'm going to put this in the beginning here. And I play with these Lego blocks. I just make sure that everything is, you can look up here and it says 2 bars precisely. I use the trimmer tool in grid mode to make sure that I'm cutting in the grid. So now that I duplicate it, it'll be perfectly synced with the grid of the song, of the session, right? By the way, here's a neat trick. If I hold Shift and return, it'll select everything behind the cursor, and then I can duplicate Command D, and I can duplicate bigger chunks. So, that's almost 4 minutes there. Definitely enough space for me to play around. Now this is A section. Before I change instruments, I might as well think of B section, right? So if I'm doing that works, right? So I'm gonna hit record again and do that. right? That's a little transition there, little transition chord to maybe go back to the A section. So let's cut a loop from here, right? Here, so by the way, on Pro Tools I can do Command T and it'll throw out everything from around my choice there. But we don't want to do that right now because we want that little turnaround at the end as well, right? We want to keep that as a separate little sample, right? So now I can kind of come up with a form here. So, usually in this kind of music, we think in 4 or 8 bar phrases. So maybe we can do 1, 2, 3, 4 here, and then delete these and stick this in here, right? Now here's another trick. I can choose a bigger grid, like a half note grid. That way even if I'm zoomed out, I know that I'm gonna, you know, put things in the beginnings of bars and stuff. So if I use a 16th and I'm looking from far away, it might happen that um, I'll put something like a 16th note ahead or after the bar. Let's listen to the transition here. So this is our little turnaround to go back to the A section. We need this to also fit in the grid perfectly, so let's trim it like this. And let's see what happens if I just put it at the end here of that 16 bar. That works. And then we can go back to that initial A section thing, right? Let's get 1, 2, 3. In fact, if I'm looking so far away, I can just have a whole bar be my grid. And then, hello, who's there? ¿Quién viene ahí? Ah, bueno. Gracias, Edgar. Nos vemos. That was Edgar, my right-hand man here in the studio. He's going home for the weekend and leaving me all alone with you guys. Olá, Rotas e Lugares Brasil. Bem-vindo ao stream. So, I don't have to commit to a form yet. I just need something to kind of like play around with, right? So, now there's something about that. It's not perfect, but again, it doesn't need to be. It was these little imperfections from a human being playing an instrument are sometimes welcome. You have to use your own judgment to decide if something is just like poorly performed and sounds bad, or if it's just sounds like a human, a little bit imprecise. So we have our A section here, and then we have our B section here, and then we go back to the A section again. How many bars do we have here? Select, and I can look up here in my length. That's 16. So maybe I can grab this. If I hold Option, I can carry a whole copy of this B section over to the end here. So now we have A, B, A, B, right? Now let's maybe change the timbre of the guitar a bit. We can duplicate this track without just so it's already says guitar and already has the proper inputs, right? So it says guitar dupe 1. I just deselected the audio, so I didn't copy the audio. So this was easier than to just open another stereo track, name it, and all that. Now I can use the same guitar, or I can use a different guitar. Now, right now, to use a different guitar, I have to go get it, tune it. So why not just change the timbre a bit, right? Maybe we can use a different amp. And maybe now we do use a little chorus, right? Maybe spring reverb. There we go. And let's come up with something that complements that first part. Let's see what I can do. All right. I'm just checking my chat there to see if anybody's saying anything to me. Let's see. All right. I kind of like some of the things that I did in the A section. I think I want to start the B section again and retune the guitar. I think some of these bends I did, detuned it a bit. Let's just check. Tuning. No, it's not too bad. Yeah, it's okay. We can continue. So let's see what I can come up with for the B section here. That's nice. And again, let's not waste time. You know, I can get super precious, but the idea here is to exercise acceptance and not perfectionism, because we need to get a track done a day in just an hour or two of work. So let's edit a little bit here. Let's listen to the first part. We can pan these guitars slightly left and right too, which will give it a little bit of a sound field variation, a little bit more interesting. Let's open up a reverb, an auxiliary track here. Call it verb. And I'm gonna put my favorite reverb, which is the Valhalla. And in fact, I usually leave it with the preset that it comes with and just lower, is the concert hall here. Just lower that decay a little bit, because that first guitar sounded super dry. So we're gonna send that out to the reverb. Nice. Just give it a little room. I'm gonna turn off the metronome so we can hear this like more natural. Go back to the main window here. I'm gonna turn on the side chain on my mixer so that when I speak, the music goes lower. I think I like this one. Hold on, let's go back. Hey Justin Spencer, thank you for joining us. I will be keeping up the good work. Emmanuel, yeah, imperfections make a song interesting, right? But there's definitely gotta be, your own judgment to decide. If it's too imperfect, then it sounds like amateurish, right? So there's a space there where things are imperfect but sound nice. So too perfect sounds robotic, too imperfect sounds amateur. So you gotta find that middle ground there. So let's go back. Okay, so I like this one. But I like this one better than this one. The response, like it's a call and response kind of a phrase. I like the response here. I like this one better than this one. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to combine them. I'm going to cut this one and put it here. And my phrase is actually going to be the beginning of the second time that I play it with the ending of the first. So let's hear that. Right? I like that. Now, once I remove the metronome, I notice there's a click, right? So when this is looping, the top guitar, it's clicking a little bit. So here's another trick for Pro Tools. If I just select everything, so I double-clicked the entire guitar track here, and I hit Option F. Oh, sorry. What did I just do? What did Option F even do? Command F, right? Rather, that's the fade. See? So it gives you this possibility of doing like a bulk fade, bulk crossfade, and you can choose 10 milliseconds is good. It's not too long to like get rid of the attack. So we're gonna try that, and that should just smoothen out those little clicks. Yep. So we got rid of that little click there. Okay, so now we're going to do the same with the second guitar. Just loop it for the A section here. Boom, boom, boom. Now let's listen to the B section. I like it like it is. I don't think I'm going to loop this one. Yeah, I like it, so I'm gonna leave it as is. Not everything has to be loops, at least for now, right? If I decide at some point that I need this to be more repetitive, in fact, I can do little tricks like grab little pieces, like let's go to 16th note, and I can just repeat part, right? That's just to illustrate. I'm not actually going to do that right now, but it'll save me a step of actually sending all of this into a sampler and performing on pads if I actually do just straight up edits on the grid here. Sometimes it is worth it, though, to send it to the sampler because it becomes more idiomatically correct. No. See what I was saying? I was zoomed out, so when I glued in the second guitar, since I had the grid at 16th note, it put it like 2/16 notes ahead, late. So that's why it's good when you're arranging to keep the grid at 1 bar or half a bar or something like that, so that you can be zoomed out and still nail those downbeats and stuff. Right, so now I get the second guitar for the second B section here, and all right, I've got the guitars going. Now, what's another? Well, bass, right? Bass is probably a good idea. So I could use my fretless, but I think for this I'll use the Stingray. I have a nice original Music Man Stingray from year 2000 here. This guy, it's a beauty. It looks brand new, but it's actually as old as my son. It's 25 years old at this point, or nearly. Right, so now I'm going to pull out that cable because we're going to use my Sans amp. Right, I have a Sans amp bass preamp over here. I have another preamp on the way today. The color box from JHS, I ordered that, and it's basically like a Neve preamp, kind of a thingamajig, and I'm excited to test it out. But for now, it's not here yet, so we're gonna use the trusty old Sans amp, which it's like the classic amp sim, it's analog amp sim from back in the day. I used to use a early version of this 30 years ago when I was starting out. So I have quite a history with the Sans amp. First, let's tune the bass. I'm going to plug it right into the little tuner here. Make sure that it's in tune. I love this bass. The Stingray is a classic. It's what Louis Johnson used in all those Michael Jackson recordings. It's one of the greatest basses for slapping. It's what Flea used in a bunch of Red Hot Chili Peppers records. Pino Palladino used the fretless one. Oh, so there's a it's a classic sound, right? And that's going into input 8.3. So let's open up a mono audio track called bass. Always name your tracks, folks. That way the audio files themselves carry the name, and then you don't get lost looking for stuff. If you manage to lose a audio file, you can find it by the name. We want 8.3 here. Also, always make sure you've selected the right input. Let's turn this up a little bit more bass. By the way, this is my main instrument. I am a bass player. So this is my most fun that I have, is playing this thing. So let's see. This bass though is not tuned in C sharp. So I'm just gonna hear. I don't even know what key I'm in. I just like started playing the guitar and I didn't do the math to figure out like. Um, that's my way of working too. I'm very intuitive and ear oriented. I'm not normally thinking of notes. I'm just hearing what sounds good. Okay, yeah, it sounds like that's the kind of thing that I'm gonna want to do. Oh, and it's been recording, so I can actually possibly go find a loop on what I already did. But I think I'm playing a little busy. Maybe I want to be a little simpler. We're distorting a bit here. Let's turn down the drive on the preamp. Let's see. Still a little busy, a little soft too. Let's turn up the input volume here a bit. Not too much. And turn down the sidechain. Something like that will work. So I can undo, right? Command Z, just undo the last recording so I'm not wasting disk space. Hit record again. Right, I like that. Looks like it recorded a little hot. Let's make sure it's not clipping. A little bit down here, see? See, I'm getting kind of these square waves. So definitely turn down the preamp a little bit and do it again. You want to record as loud as possible, but without clipping. Digital clipping is no fun. There we go. That's nice. And as you notice, sometimes the bass follows the rhythm of what the guitar is doing, and sometimes it kind of answers it instead. Here's another trick. I can select the top um, bars here of the guitar, and then if I hold shift and click down here, it selects the same. Then I can do Command T to trim, and already I have a perfect, and I can double check and select here and double check that it's exactly 40000, 4 bar phrase, right? And I can put that from the beginning. And let's listen. Now, I think I cut off the beginning of the note. Oh no, it looks pretty good actually. It looks right at the zero crossing. So there's a little clicking. The clicking might be happening at the end here. Ah, no, it looks like I performed it pretty well. So let's just duplicate this for the length of the A section. And let's figure something out for the B section. Now, I'm going to start recording from before, just to give me some time. And then I can just like stretch out or cover up that beginning. It's like seeing the magic, Alona. Cool. Yeah, that's the point. I'm hoping lots of people will enjoy and joining me in my recording and producing process, and seeing something, a complete blank slate become a full song by the end of the day of the process. So I want to end this by 2 o'clock this afternoon, which is in 40 minutes. Right, so we gotta kind of hurry up a little bit. I'm talking too much, is what I'm saying. All right, let's go. Oh, no tracks are record enabled. I have to record enable the bass track here. All right, so pretty straightforward. I'm just gonna do that and loop it, and then record something for the turnaround at the end. So. Hold on, let's figure out that rhythm. Boom, doo, da, boom, got. Boom, da, boom, got. Goom, and it dissipates, right? Alright, maybe the slap sounds good. I don't know. I switched to slap. Not sure. What do y'all think? Should I slap it? Should I slap this bass, or should I just continue fingerstyle? Come on, somebody comment. I'm waiting for you. Well, if nobody's voicing an opinion, I'm just gonna decide myself. And I think I'm gonna go back to fingerstyle. I think it's gonna be more appropriate for this song. All right, that'll probably work. So I need to cover up this little like lead in that I gave myself, right? So I'll cover it up with the previous loop and then all right. So just to keep it tighter, I'm gonna copy the first loop. I gotta keep the end though, right? This end follows the turnaround that I did harmonically, but I can copy this a couple times, and then just the first half for this part, so that it preserves the turnaround at the end here. And now we can copy the first A section. In fact, let's get both of them and just Command D, right? Duplicate the AB, so it goes AB again, and that's enough bass for now. All right. Okay, so now this is pretty boring. It's just guitar and bass. I need something like quirky and weird and different and interesting to go. But you know what? Maybe I'll just do drums first. And the drums are also going to be sampled. Like I'll treat the drums as a loop. So I'm just going to record some drums over this. And then find like a good loop or a good couple of loops. So we're going to go, I'm going to turn on phantom power on all the drum microphones. And then I'm going to select all of the drum tracks on my mixer here. And on Pro Tools, I can hold Shift Option, and whatever I do to one track that's selected, it'll do to all selected tracks. So in this case, record enable. So now all of these are blinking red, so they're all ready to record. Now I'm going to turn on a count off, an 8-bar count off here, and turn on the click again. And this gives me time to go over there, put on headphones, sit down, grab sticks, and play, right? So, and I can take my GoPro with me so you guys can see me play. So right now you won't hear me talk because I'm going to take off the headset and I'm going to use a different pair of headphones that's over there. right, I'm back. So yeah, one take, right? One take is all it takes. Let's have a look at the levels. Looks like my back overhead's a little loud. Did play a little loud. And yeah, I had a couple different ideas. That's the point, is to listen, see which one I like better, and then go with it and treat it as a loop, treat it as samples. Wow, who could have imagined this is so interesting, so nice? Thank you, Aluna. I'm glad you're enjoying the experience. So the drums, let's get a sound out of these drums first and foremost. I'm gonna solo them. So Shift Option Solo, and I can turn off the click for now. Now I feel like it's a little heavy on the left side. Here we go. Sounds pretty good already. It's a good sounding drum set anyway. Maybe we want that snare a little snappier. Here I have already, the drums are routed to a sub drum over here, and they're being sent to a drum reverb track that doesn't have a reverb yet. So let's hang a reverb on there. Reverb Valhalla. And for this, we'll try something different. We'll try like a plate, like a snare plate. All right, and let's send. If I click Command and the little dot next to the send here, I get a little mixer with faders for the reverb. Okay, we don't want too much. We don't want it to be too wet. We probably only really need overheads and snare into that reverb. That's probably enough. Cool. By the way, my floor tom mic is underneath the floor tom. So if you look over here, I have a trim plugin, which all it's doing is inverting the phase, right? Because the microphone is opposing the other microphone. So it's gonna cancel the phase. So that in order not to cancel, we're going to invert the phase, right? And that's why that kick drum is sounding so nice. In fact, we can put a little EQ here and beef it up a little bit, beef up the kick drum. There we go. That's nice and beefy. And now I have a sub drum over here, which is all of the drum tracks are being routed into a single stereo track called the sub drum, right? And so I can put in like a compressor, the good old Bomb Factor. This is a vintage plugin. We have those already. Like, I've been using this plugin for over 20 years. In fact, probably more like 25 years. And it's a replica. It's one of the earliest plugin versions of the 1176 classic compressor. Let's get that snare a little louder too. Really snap. Bring the attack. Slow up the attack a little bit. Fast release. Cool. Sounds pretty good. Let's hear that with the bass. Now here's another plugin that I like, another oldie but goodie. It's called the Renaissance bass. It just gives the bass a lot of punch. You can bring the frequency down to 50 or 60. And we can use a compressor on the bass as well. So dynamics here, we're going to use the Renaissance Axe, which is made for guitars, but it works really well for bass as well. nice. I think the bass needs a little brightness, so we're gonna give it a little high end there. The EQ could maybe go before. Yeah, good idea. Go before the R bass in the compressor. Right, sounds really nice already. Now let's open up the guitars. Now we need the drums to be louder. Since they're already pretty loud, we can actually turn it down. No, I have room to bring them up a bit, like right there. Now this guitar, it's pretty beefy. It sounds really nice by itself, but in context, it doesn't need to have so much low and low mids. So we're gonna filter it a bit. See? That doesn't fight with the bass or anything. This one, same thing. Okay, this is not turning out to be so hip-hoppy. It's more like a classic soul funk kind of a tune. Um, Now, I was talking about doing something quirky and weird and interesting, and why not the my new talkbox effect? That sounds really nice. If I let's plug the guitar back in, and we'll do like I'm not gonna say anything. I'm just gonna use my voice to kind of modulate the guitar sound, like a wah kind of an effect. I'm just gonna wow 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 kind of a thing. All right. I have a microphone already. Oh, shoot! Flew right off. And wow wow. All right, and this is going in. This is going into channel 4 here. Wow 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 yeah. Right. So in fact, I'm gonna turn off my. Oh, looks like the GoPro ran out of battery, folks. Sorry about that. Um, I do have another battery for it. I wonder if I plug it in, it'll charge and simultaneously broadcast as it's charging. There we go. But, you know, I'm not going to waste our time right now with that. I'm going to grab a pick. In fact, I can use this camera. So you can see me this way, play in TalkBox. Wow, 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 wow. Do 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 wow. Let's turn that up a bit. Way wow way go see this. Let me turn off the mic so you hear only the TalkBox. See, this is the TalkBox. It sounds so cool, so vintage, funky, funky, funky stuff. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Let's open up a track to record this talkbox sound. And the talk box is in input 4, I think. Is it? Input 4. Yeah, it's distorting a bit. We'll turn it down a little bit. And input A.4. Why are all my inputs A.dot inputs? Because the 8 main inputs on my interface are all taken up by the drums. So the drum set, the 8 microphones on the drum set are going through the 8 inputs on my PreSonus interface, and then everything else is going on to the A.dot expansion. Right? Okay, so let's see what I can come up with. I left that count off. I don't need it now. The 8-bar count off. That was for when I needed to go walk up to the drums. We won't need it this time. Whoa, 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 way out down, way, way out. This is actually sounding really nice, but I feel like I need to have the drums be more steady. So we're gonna mute this for now and just let's kind of choose the drum, the main drum loop. Oh. Yeah, I kind of like this groove right here. Or rather, this. Look, I'm gonna make a group with all of the drum tracks. That way, write drums here. That way, if I want to solo the drums, I just hit one of these and it'll solo all of them. And also, if I want to edit, it'll select all of the drum tracks. So now I didn't play super precisely. So here's something that I can do to make it a little bit more precise and robotic. And since this is hip hop, everything goes, right? I won't feel bad. So we're gonna put rhythmic elastic time on the entire drum track. And then we're gonna quantize. So option 0 gives me the possibility to quantize elastic audio events, right, to 16th notes. Apply. Right here, this is a great loop right here. So and it sounds pretty good because I didn't use cymbals. I nearly didn't use any cymbals. So when you use cymbals in elastic time, that's when you can kind of hear it because the cymbals get the sound gets distorted in a bad way, right? But since I use only short sounds like hi-hat and stuff, so you know what? You know what I'm gonna do though? I don't want to lose my entire performance of the drums. I might want some like turnarounds or things like that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a playlist. So I'm gonna right next to the kick drum here, there's a little arrow. I can click here and say new, and then I'm gonna paste. Right, I had already cut into my clipboard that loop I liked, and now just for now, I'm gonna just use the same loop for the entire song. And you know, it's sounding a little too acoustic, so why don't I open up a instrument track here? You know, I should probably bring up my MPC for this, but in the interest of time, I'm just gonna load a battery instance. Battery is a virtual drum machine, and just to like layer in um, some electronic sounds and make it sound a little more hip hoppy. So I want to make sure that my yeah, the CK series keyboard. Let's turn the volume down so all we hear, we're just using it to trigger. I think I need to bring the octave down. Oh, these are just hi-hats. Okay. So let's load a 606 kit. Nope. We need something a little more hip-hoppy. What if I write hip-hop on the search here? Hip-hop kit. There's one like generic hip-hop kit. No, too generic. Let's find something else. Funk kit? Funkier kit? Yeah! It's pretty funky. Gradually, let's see. That sounds too acoustic. We want something more electronic. That sounds okay. I don't know. I'm just gonna kind of go random here. Just click on anything. No, too pitchy. Oh, this is nice right here. Pendulum kit. Sounds kind of like a Lindrum. So let's do a little bit of this. There we go. So now all we have to do is quantize this. So I grab it here, option 0, quantize it. And I think I like the second half I did better. So I'm going to trim it and put it down here. We're going to name this E drum. So let's listen to just the drums, the E drums and the acoustic drums. That's really nice. Works really, really well. Now I'm thinking the imperfections with the bass and drums, since the drums are quantized now, the bass and guitars are a little too imperfect. So we might need to do a little adjustment with those as well. So let's go over here on guitar and make it polyphonic elastic time, because it's chord stuff, right? We'll do the same with the second guitar, polyphonic. Monophonic, well, no, we'll leave the bass alone, because the bass really gets really jumbled. It really does a number on the bass sound. And now we can quantize the guitars, and let's see if that screws them up too bad. Yeah, it sounds pretty good. And even if it does, here's the thing, hip hop, right? So to have glitchy sounds in hip hop is actually even like desirable sometimes. You know, the vinyl record crackles and things like that. So this is pretty par for the course. So now we're gonna go back to doing that talk box. Now I feel like everything's too loud now. So let's turn everything down so I can hear the talk box better. I feel like the bass is too like on top of the beat. It needs to be a little more laid back. So here's another trick. We're just gonna grab the entire bass track and we're gonna nudge it a tiny bit late on slip mode. So it's just a little bit like that. A little bit more. It's still a little too tight. There you go. The bass is perfectly grooving now, because I think it was following the guitars. The guitars might have been played a little ahead of the beat. So once I quantized them, the bass didn't feel right anymore. So just nudging it a tiny bit forward in time, or back in time rather, right? Fixed it, right? And we can even open up. All right, now let's do the talk box. Wow, wow. I'm gonna turn off the mic here so we only hear. All right, that's kind of cool. Let's hear it. Maybe I'll also, edit, cut. But guess what? It's 2 o'clock and I didn't finish the song. So this is only day 2. I'm only getting used to this whole routine. So I might continue this song tomorrow. So not always, I guess I won't always be able to do a full song in a day. Maybe it'll be a song in 2 days sometimes. But I'd like to thank you all for joining me today and for keeping me company while I create content for my personal sound library. And we'll say goodbye by listening to what we have so far. And then I'll go because I have to take my girls to a soccer game and other things that are in the schedule for today. So let's just listen to this and we'll continue. I don't know if tomorrow's the weekend. I might only do this weekdays. We'll see. If I have time and peace to do it tomorrow, I'll do it. All right, so again, I'll say goodbye now and we'll listen to the song and end the transmission. All right, from here it just kind of repeats. We haven't really gotten through making a form for this or creating more variation for the B section. Maybe some strings will go in there, maybe Hammond organ. So I'm looking forward to continuing this track. I'm not going to abandon this one like I did the one from yesterday. And thank you again for joining me on this journey, especially you, Alona. I think you're probably alone here at this point. I can't really see uh, how many participants. Can I? No, it's just you, Alona. So thank you very much for continuing to the end today. And I'll be trying to do this every day. So hopefully more and more people will join in and make this a habit. And okay, see you soon and stay noisy, stay musical. Bye bye.